Durga Puja, worship of Durga, also referred to as Durgotsava, festival of Durga, or Sharadotsav, is an annual Hindu festival in South Asia that celebrates worship of the Hindu goddess Durga. It refers to all the 6 days observed as Mahalaya, Shashthi, Maha Saptami, Maha Ashtami, Maha Navami and Vijayadashami. Durga Puja festival is celebrated from the 6th to 10th day of bright lunar fortnight in the Bikram Sambat Calendar month of Ashwin. This period falls in the fortnight corresponding to the festival is called Devi Paksha, fortnight of the goddess. Devi Paksha is preceded by Mahalaya, the last day of the previous fortnight, Pitri Paksha, fortnight of the forefathers, and is ended on Kojagori Lokhi Puja on Kojagori full moon night. Durga Puja festival marks the victory of goddess Durga over the evil buffalo demon Mahishasura. Thus, Durga Puja festival epitomizes the victory of good over evil. In Bengal, Durga is worshipped as Durgatinashini, the destroyer of evil and the protector of her devotees. Durga Puja is widely celebrated in the Indian states of Assam, Mithila region of Nepal and Bihar, Jharkhand, Manipur, Odisha, Tripura, Meghalaya and West Bengal, where it is a 5-day annual holiday. In both West Bengal and Tripura, which have a majority of Bengali Hindus, it is the biggest festival of the year. In Assam, due to presence of huge number of Bengali Hindus and quite a large number of Assamese Hindus of Shakta sect of Hinduism, it is one of the biggest religious festivals, as the biggest festival is Bihu, which is secular in nature. Not only is it the biggest Hindu festival celebrated throughout the state, it is also the most significant socio-cultural event in Bengali Hindu society. Apart from eastern India, Durga Puja is also celebrated in Delhi, Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Gujarat, Punjab, Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, Haryana, Rajasthan, Uttarakhand, Madhya Pradesh, Goa, Telangana, Tamil Nadu, Sikkim, Andhra Pradesh, Karnataka and Kerala. Durga Puja is also celebrated as a major festival in Nepal, where 82% population is Hindus, and in Bangladesh, where 10% population is Hindu. Nowadays, many diaspora Assamese and Bengali cultural organizations arrange for Durgotsava in countries such as the United States, Canada, United Kingdom, Australia, Germany, France, the Netherlands, Singapore and Kuwait, among others. In 2006, a grand Durga Puja ceremony was held in the Great Court of the British Museum. The prominence of Durga Puja increased gradually during the British Raj in Bengal and erstwhile Assam. After the Hindu reformists identified Durga with India, she became an icon for the Indian independence movement. In the first quarter of the 20th century, the tradition of Bariyariya community puja was popularized due to this. After independence, Durga Puja became one of the largest celebrated festivals in the whole world. It is also the largest open-air art exhibition in the world. Durga Puja also includes the worship of Shiva, who is Durga's consort, in addition to Lakshmi, Saraswati with Ganesha and Kartikeya, who are considered to be Durga's children. Worship of Mother Nature is done through 9 types of plant, including a plantain tree, which represent 9 divine forms of goddess Durga. Modern traditions have come to include the display of decorated pandals and artistically depicted sculptures of Durga, exchange of Vijaya greetings and publication of puja annuals. Names. In Bengal, Assam, Odisha, Durga Puja is also called Ekalbodan, Sharadiya Puja, Sharadotsav, Maha Puja, Maya Puja, or merely as Puja Puja. In East Bengal, Durga Puja used to be celebrated as Bhagavati Puja. It is also called Durga Puja in West Bengal, Bihar, Assam, Odisha, Delhi and Madhya Pradesh. Puja is called Navaratri Puja in Gujarat, Uttar Pradesh, Punjab, Kerala and Maharashtra. Maharashtra, Kullu Dussehra in Kullu Valley, Himachal Pradesh, Mysore Dussehra in Mysore, Karnataka, Bommaigalu in Tamil Nadu and Bommala Koluvu in Andhra Pradesh. Origin of the autumnal ceremony, Sharadotsav. The actual worship of the goddess Durga as stipulated by the Hindu scriptures falls in the month of Chaitra, which roughly overlaps with March or April and is called Basanti Durga Puja. This ceremony is not observed by many and is restricted to a handful in the state of West Bengal, Assam, Tripura. The more popular form, which is also known as Sharadotsav Durga Puja, is celebrated later in the year with the dates falling either in September or October. Since the goddess is invoked at the wrong time, it is called Akal Bodhan in Bengali. One of the earliest evidence of the autumnal celebration can be found in the Tripura Puranji, where it is described that the envoy of the Tripura kingdom, Rameshwar was invited to witness the Durga Puja at Rangpur, the capital of the Ahom kingdom, in 1711. While the most recent revival of the autumnal worship of goddess Durga can be traced to revivalist tendencies in the early freedom movement in Bengal, differences remain in the historical reason behind the revival. One school of thought is of the opinion that the first such puja was organized by Raja Nabakrishna Deb of the Shobha Bazar Rajbari of Calcutta in honor of Lord Clive in the year 1757. The puja was organized because Clive wished to pay thanks for his victory in the Battle of Plassey. He was unable to do so in a church because the only church in Calcutta at the time was destroyed by Siraj-ud-Daulah. Indeed, many wealthy mercantile and zamindar families in Bengal made British officers of the East India Company guests of honor in the pujas. The hosts vied with one another in arranging the most sumptuous fairs, decorations and entertainment for their guests. This was deemed necessary since the company was in charge of a large part of India including Bengal after the battles of Plassey and Buxar. However, this particular claim has been refuted by the Shobha Bazar Rajbari. In a public announcement during the Durga Puja of 2011, notice boards were placed at the entrance of the puja, clarifying the Rajbari's official position. As to why the Shobha Bazar Rajbari should choose to do so now after a lapse of 254 years is indeed a mystery. There is also a mythological belief that Lord Ram, who was a Durga worshipper, worshipped goddess Durga before going to war with Ravana. Rama had performed Chandi Homa and invoked the blessings of Durga, who blessed Rama with secret knowledge of the way to kill Ravana. On the day of Ashwin Vijayadashami, Rama's party found Sita and defeated Ravana. This day is thus also celebrated as Dussehra. History. The Durga Puja has been celebrated since the medieval period, and has evolved and adapted to the world as time passed. A considerable literature exists around Durga in the Bengali language and its early forms, including Avniyana, Durga Bhakti Tarangini by Vidyapati. But the goddess Durga was not fully integrated into the Hindu pantheon, primarily in Bengal, in the 16th century. Early forms of Durgotsavs were primarily private worship in personal residences with the use of musical instruments such as the mridanga, mandira, and smakya. According to archaeological evidence from Parashurameshwara temple built in 6th century in Bhubaneswar, Odisha says Sadabula Mahisamadhini Durga being worshipped in Shiva temples. During the 18th century, the worship of Durga became popular among the land aristocrats of Bengal, the zamindars. Prominent pujas were conducted by the zamindars and jagirdars, being enriched by emerging British rule, including Raja Nabakrishna Deb of Shobha Bazar, who initiated an elaborate puja at his residence. These celebrations brought the Durgotsav out of individual homes and into the public sphere. Festivities were celebrated as a community, where royalty and peasantry were welcomed into the home of the zamindar Abhinaya to feast together. The festivities became heavily centered on entertainment, music and female dances, as well as lavish feasts that continued for the entire month. In the 19th century, the pujas celebrated placed less emphasis on elaborate celebration and feasting, and more on including all of the community. They moved from being a show of wealth and authority by royalty and merchants back to a festival of worship and community. Many of these old puja exist today. The oldest such puja to be conducted at the same venue is in Ramswarpur, Odisha, where it has been continued since the last 4 centuries, starting from the time when the Ghosh Mahashas from Kotarang migrated there as a part of Todamal's contingent during Akbar's rule. Today, the culture of Durga Puja has shifted from the princely houses to Sarbojanan forms. The first such puja was held at Guptipara. It was called Barawari. Today's puja, however, goes far beyond religion. Visiting the pandals recent years, one can only say that Durga Puja is the largest outdoor art festival on earth. The music, dancing, and art displayed and performed during the Durga Puja played an integral part in connecting the community in Bengal, and eventually across India and the world. In the 1990s, a preponderance of architectural models came up on the pandal exteriors, but today the art motif extends to elaborate interiors, executed by trained artists with consistent stylistic elements, carefully executed and bearing the name of the artist. The sculpture of the sculpture itself has evolved. The worship always depicts Durga with her 4 children and occasionally 2 attendant deities and some banana tree figures. In the olden days, all 5 sculptures would be depicted in a single frame, traditionally called pata. Since the 1980s, however, the trend is to depict each sculpture separately. For the medieval period up through present day, the Durga Puja celebrates the goddess and brings the Hindu community together by integrating modernized aspects of entertainment and technology, while still maintaining the religious worship customs. Durga Puja mood starts off with the Mahishasuramardini, a 2-hour radio program that has been popular with the community since the 1950s. While earlier it used to be conducted live, later a recorded version began to be broadcast. Bengalis traditionally wake up at 4 in the morning on Mahila Day to listen to the enchanting voice of the late Barendra Krishna Bhadra and the late Pankaj Kumar Mullik on All India Radio as they recite hymns from the scriptures from the Devi Mahatmya, Devi's Agman and Gaman. It is a popular belief that Devi arrives and departs in some form of transportation which predicts the lives of people for the coming year. There are various forms like Palki, Nauka, Ashwa, Jet, etc., each having its own significance. For example, the departure by horse signifies devastation, as was the case in early days after any war. Coming by boat signifies natural gifts like a good harvest. Somewhere inside these complex edifices is a stage on which Durga reigns, standing on her lion mount, wielding 10 weapons in her 10 hands. This is the religious center of the festivities, and the crowds gather to offer flower worship at Pushpanjali on the mornings of the 6th to 9th days of the waxing moon fortnight, known as Devi Paksha. Ritual drummers, darkies, carrying large leather-strung dhak, show off their skills during ritual dance worships called Arati. On the 10th day, Durga the mother returns to her husband, Shiva, ritualized through her immersion into the waters Bishahan, also known as Bharshan and Iranjan. At the end of 6 days, the sculpture is taken for immersion in a procession amid loud chants of Bolo Durga Mai Ki Jai and Ashche Boch or Abahob and drum beats, to the river or other water body. It is cast in the waters, symbolic of the departure of the deity to her home with her husband in the Himalayas. After this, in a tradition called Vijayadashami, families visit each other and sweetmeats are offered to visitors. Durga Puja commemorates the annual visit of the goddess with her children to her parents' home, leaving finally on the Dashami to be reunited with Shiva. This leaving ceremony is symbolized by the immersion of the sculptures on Dashami. Durga Puja is also a festivity of good winning over the evil. It is a worship of power of good which always wins over the bad. Durga Puja Mantra. Mantras, the integral part of Durga Puja, are accompanied by the rhythmic beatings of the dhak, smell of the incense sticks, ululu, duno, and flowers. These create the atmosphere of Durga Puja. Chanting of mantras in Sanskrit is an essential part of the Durga Puja festival. This is a part of Durga Puja's Pushpanjali mantra, Om Jayanti, Mangala, Kali, Bhadrakali, Kapalini, Durga, Shiva, Keshama, Dhatri, Swaha, Swadanamastute, Esha Sashandana Ganda Pushpa Bilwe Patranjali, Om Acharing Durga or Nama Durga slokas praises Durga as symbol of all divine forces. According to the sloka, Durga is omnipresent as the embodiment of power, intelligence, peace, wealth, morality, etc. A part of Durga's sloka is as follows: Ya Devi Sarvabhutshu Matri Rupina Samstita, Ya Devi Sarvabhutshu Shakti Rupina Samstita, Ya Devi Sarvabhutasu Shanti Rupina Samstita. Name Stasya in Name Stasya in Name Stasya in Amo Nama. Translation: the goddess who is omnipresent as the personification of universal mother, the goddess who is omnipresent as the embodiment of power, the goddess who is omnipresent as the symbol of peace. I bow to her, I bow to her, I bow to her. Durga Puja Mantra in Ashtanayika. In Hinduism, whenever a priest worships goddess Durga, he has to utter a mantra which gives an account of goddess Durga together with Ashtanayika. The priest then deeply concentrates his mind upon goddess Durga together with Ashtanayika. Community Asabharjan Puja. Initially the puja was organized by rich families since they had the money to organize the festival. During the late 19th and early 20th century, a burgeoning middle class, primarily in Calcutta, wished to observe the puja. They created the Community Asabharjan Pujas. These pujas are organized by a committee which represents a locality or neighborhood. They collect funds called chanda through door-to-door subscriptions, lotteries, concerts, etc. These funds are pooled and used for the expenses of pandal construction, sculpture construction, ceremonies, etc. The balance of the fund is generally donated to a charitable cause as decided by the committee. Corporate sponsorships of the pujas have gained momentum since the late 1990s. Major pujas in Calcutta and in major metro areas such as Delhi and Chennai now derive almost all of the funds from corporate sponsorships. Community fund drives have become a formality. Despite the resources used to organize a puja, entry of visitors into the pandal is always free. Pujas in Calcutta and elsewhere experiment with innovative concepts every year. Communities have created prizes for best pandal, best puja, and other categories. Creation of the sculptures. The entire process of creation of the sculptures, from the collection of clay to the ornamentation, is a holy process, supervised by rites and other rituals. On the Hindu date of Akshaya Tritiya, when the Rath Yatra is held, clay for the sculptures is collected from the banks of a river, preferably the Ganges. There is age-old custom of collecting a handful of soil from the Nishido Palace of Calcutta, literally forbidden territories, where sex workers live, and adding it to the clay mixture which goes into the making of the Durga sculpture. After the required rites, the clay is transported An important event is Chakudan, literally donation of the eyes. Starting with Devi-Durga, the eyes of the sculptures are painted on Mahalaya of the first day of the pujas. Before painting on the eyes, the artisans fast for a day and eat only vegetarian food. Many pujas in and around Kolkata by the sculptures from Kumartilai, an artisan's town in North Calcutta. In 1610, the first Durga Puja in Kolkata was supposedly celebrated by the Roy Chowdhury family of Barisha. Though this was a private affair, community or Bariyari, Durga Puja was started in Guptipara, in Hooghly by 12 young men when they were barred from participating in a family Durga Puja in 1761. They formed a committee which accepted subscriptions for organizing the puja. Since then, community pujas in Bengal came to be known as Bariyari. In Kolkata, the first Bariyari Durga Puja was organized in 1910 by the Sanatan Sahini Sabha at Balaram Bosu Ghat Road, Bhawanipur. At the same time, similar Bariyari pujas were held at Ramdan Mitra Lane and Sikdar Bagan. The Indian freedom struggle also had an influence on Durga Puja in Kolkata. Environmental impact. Environmental hazards from the materials used to make and color the sculptures pollute local water sources. The sculptures are brought directly into the river at the end of festivities. Efforts are underway to introduce eco-friendly materials to the artisans who make the sculptures. West Bengal has been credited by its own environmental agency as being possibly the first Indian state to successfully curb the use of hazardous paints. However, by their own account, only 2/3 of the sculptures made are currently colored with eco-friendly paints. Commercialization of Hindu festivals like Durga Puja in the last quarter of 20th century have become a major environmental concern as devout Hindus want bigger and brighter sculptures. Environmentalists say the sculptures are often made from hazardous materials like cement, plastic, plaster of Paris, and toxic paints. Theme-based pujas and pandals. Pandals and sculptures inspired by a particular theme have been the hallmark of many community Asarbhajan and pujas in Kolkata since the 1990s. Puja committees decide on a particular theme, whose elements are incorporated into the pandal and the sculptures. Popular themes include ancient civilizations like the Egyptians or Incas. Contemporary subjects like the RMS Titanic and Harry Potter have also been the subject in some pandals. The design and decoration is usually done by art and architecture students based in the city. The budget required for such theme-based pujas is often higher than traditional pujas. They attract crowds and are well received. Inspired by Kolkata, theme-based pandals are becoming popular in cities in neighboring states, particularly Odisha. Experimentation with the sculptures does not happen much outside Kolkata. Rapid growth of competitiveness in theme pandals, and also rapid growth of massive billboards that come up at strategic junctions prior to puja and allied commercial activities, has also created a cultural backlash from cities' traditional puja pandals, which now claim, "We do not do theme puja, we do Durga Puja," according to one hoarding put up in Salt Lake, Kolkata. 2015 saw the extreme hype, rise and fall of the world's tallest Durga Puja, located at Dashapriyu Park. Sponsored by an Indian cement manufacturer, the Puja committee employed artisan Mintu Pal to build a 88 feet tall idol. People visiting this idol came from not just all around the city, but from all around West Bengal, other parts of India and even neighboring countries like Bangladesh and Nepal. It is reported that over 1 million people tried to view the spectacle on Chaturthi and Panchami, causing a standstill in 10 kilometers radius and a stampede injuring 11 people. Following this, the Kolkata police stopped the puja in this location for the next 4 days. Media attention. TV and radio channels telecast puja celebrations. Many Bengali Assamese channels devote whole days to the pujas. Bengali and Oriya weekly magazines bring out special issues for the puja known as Pujabashiki or Sharadiya Sankhya. These contain the works of many writers, both established and upcoming, and thus much bigger than the regular issues. Some notable examples are Ananda Mela, Shaktara, Desh, Saradiya, Ananda Bizar Patrika, Sananda, Nabakala, Bartaman. All major local news publications are closed on the last day of the festivities. Movies Satyajit Ray's film Joy Baba Thelunaf is centered on Durga Puja. His movie Nayak has a Durga Puja reference. Ritu Porno Ghosh's Hira Angti Utsaban Mahal all are centered on Durga Puja. The Hindi Devdas interweaves the celebration of Durga Puja into its storyline. The film Kahani is centered on Durga Puja and plays a prominent role in the unfolding of events. The film Dashami is also centered around Durga Puja.